So this is just going to be a quick video, how to get the tables using my calculator. This Casio FX-115ES Plus. Need to get my calculator set up to do this because out of the box it's not set up. It's set up to do 2 tables as opposed to 1 table. So this is a one-time. You'll never have to do it again. To get your calculator set up to do tables. So I'm going to hit my shift button and then the setup key. So I'm going to do shift on the top row of the calculator, and then I'm going to hit the mode setup key. It says mode and setup, but hitting the shift is going to access the setup part of this because we're setting up our calculator. So shift and then mode setup. And then I have to use this replay arrow and point it down. If I just hit it down once, I'll see 5 that says table. So now I'm just going to type the number 5. And that's going to access the table. So now I type number 5, and I'm going to select option 1. By default, it wants to do 2 tables at once as opposed to 1 table. So I'm going to select or type the option 1, which is just going to give me 1 table. You'll never have to do this again. Let me just go through this real quickly. I hit the shift, then the mode setup key, gets me to this table. Then I use down on the replay button. I type number 5 for table, and I type number 1 to only give me 1 table. That I'll never have to do again. Now my calculator is set up that I'll never have to change it again. It's set up to do tables just perfectly now. So now I want to do a table. Let me just do a generic table. Let's say I wanted to graph f of x equals the square root of x minus 5 plus 3. So the table that I would do, I'd set x minus 5 equal to 0. I'd solve for x. The table that I would graph for this would have 5 in the middle of my x column. Bigger than 5 is 6, bigger than 6 is 7, smaller than 5 is 4, smaller than 4 is 3. So this would be my x's, and I'm going to get my y's or my f of x's on my calculator. Super easy. Now that my calculator is set up, I don't have to shift, but I do have to hit the mode key. I never have to shift again. So now to get my y's without shifting, it's going to be mode, but no shift key. If you shift, that's just for the setup purposes, and it's set up, so we're just straight mode. And I'm going to select option 7, so then I'm going to type the number 7. And now I'm going to enter the function. So my calculator now says f of x equals, I need to type the square root, so I hit the square root key. And now I need to get an x. And on my calculator, the x is written in red on the right parentheses. So right now I have the square root key, and I need to get this x right here. To get the x written, you type the red alpha button on the top row of the calculator, and then the right parentheses. Alpha, I don't know if I hit the alpha or not. I didn't yet. Since I didn't hit the alpha, it just gave me a right parentheses. So alpha and right parentheses. Now, then I'm going to finish this up with the minus by the equal sign. That's not a negative, that's a minus. And then the 5, I'm going to arrow out and type in the plus 3. So I did mode 7, square root, alpha, right parentheses for x, minus 5, error out of the square root, plus 3. After I get the function in, I hit the equal sign. And now I'm going to tell it the numbers in the table. Once I hit the equal sign, my table says start, and it's going to start at x equal to 3, so I'm going to type in 3 and hit equals. Then it says end. My table ends at 7. I'm going to type the number 7 and hit equals. And then it says step. Step is how far the x's are apart. If my table said 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, if it was 3, 5, and 7, I would write step 2 because the x's were 2 apart. I generally only make my x's 1 apart, so I'm going to do step 1 and hit equals. I'll never do anything other than step 1. And now my points are all here. The first column just says first point, second point, third point. The middle column is the x's. The first x there is 3, and next to 3, the y is an error. So the far left column is not really important. It's just numbering the points, first point, second point, third point. The middle column are the x's. For x equal to 4, the y's are an error. For x equal to 5, the y's are 3. For x equal to 6, the y is 4. And for x equal to 7, the y is 4.41. And I just plot those points and sketch my graph. So I'm done making a table. If I'm not making another graph, I just do mode and 1. The mode key without the shift. Not going to have to hit the shift again for the mode. Mode and 1 takes you back to the main screen. Let's do another one, and doesn't matter if it's a square root or a cube root. Square roots will get some errors, cube roots won't. If I want it to do f of x equals the cube root of x plus 1, if I was graphing that for my table, since I'm not given a table, I'll take the radicand and set it equal to 0. I'm going to minus 1 from both sides. That tells me I need to put minus 1 in the middle of my x column. And in my y slash f of x column, I need to go bigger. Bigger than negative 1 is 0. Bigger than 0 is 1. Smaller than negative 1 is negative 2. Smaller than negative 2 is negative 3. If you put your table backwards, if you had the 1 on the top and the negative 3 on the bottom, this calculator will give you an error. Always, the numbers that I'm putting in my table, they need to work from smallest to biggest, and smallest is furthest left on the x-axis. So this table is going to start at negative 3 and end at 1. So this is the table I want to get y's for. To do this table now, I'm going to hit my mode button without shifting. I only needed to shift that first time to get my calculator set up. Click 7 and then equals. I didn't even have to hit equals, just 7. And now I'm going to do shift and square root for cube root, alpha and right parentheses for x plus 1. So shift square root will give me the cube root, and then alpha, the red alpha button, and a right parentheses will give me the x, and I typed in the plus 1. I have my function in, I'm going to hit equals. I'm going to start at negative 3, and this is not minus 3, it's negative by the fraction. Start at negative 3, hit equals, end at positive 1, hit equals, and I always do step 1 because my numbers in my x column are always 1 apart, so I always just default to hitting equals here. First column I'm not worried about. The next two columns I am worried about. So it says when x equals negative 3, y is negative 1.26 rounded to 2 decimals. The second point is x equal to negative 2, y equal to negative 1. My third point is x equal to negative 1, y equal to 0. Then x equal to 0, y equal to 1, and then x equal to 1, and I'm going to round that to y equal to 1.26. I'm done. If I wanted to do another table, I would just do mode and 7 and do another table. If I'm done doing tables, it's just mode and 1 to get back to the main screen. So you don't have to do any of the y's step by step. You can use, for our class, anytime we're doing a graph, you can use your calculator to generate the y's. It's going to speed up the process, and you don't have to do the y's like I did in the section 4.3 video, doing each y individually. It's not particularly hard. It kind of feels like kind of not the best use of time. So you're more than welcome to use your calculator to get all the y's. Okay, let me pause this video or end this video.